Welcome to the Jaguar Podcast, a show where we discuss all things related to Duval County's finest NFL football team, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Move 42, set, fight!
Duval, baby! Hey everybody, it's Andrew and welcome to episode 121 of the Jaguar Podcast. In this episode, I'll be having a discussion with Jacksonville Jaguars YouTuber, Jagganoff. You can follow his content on his YouTube channel, and you can also follow him on Twitter. His Twitter handle is @Jagganoff. I had a blast talking with Jagganoff. Really enjoyed it. We talked a lot about kind of some of the craziness that's going on in Jacksonville. Hope you enjoy it. Here's my discussion with Jacksonville Jaguars YouTuber, Jagganoff. Jagganoff, nice to have you back. Thanks for being on the show.
No problem, man. How y'all doing?
Doing all right, man. What a tough week to be a Jaguars fan. It's like every single time, I feel like I get beat down by this team every single year, man.
I can't remember too many more off seasons worse than this one. Like, this has just been a living hell.
Yeah. I mean, with the Ronnie Harrison news today.
It's funny. We were going to, when you originally talked to me, we were going to talk about the whole Fournette thing, and then this. What's next? When will this end? I mean, are we I don't know if you've been seeing the tweets I've been putting out on Twitter lately, but I mean, one of the examples, what are we going to what's next? Are we going to trade DJ Chark to Philly for a cheesesteak? Are we going to trade Josh Allen to Seattle for a fish? I mean, what a fucking disgrace.
Yeah, seriously. It's like a total show, man. It's
this has got to stop. This isn't even funny anymore. Like, this is becoming a violation of human rights. It's absolutely degrading. I'm just sick.
Oh man, it's so bad. It's just so tough right now, man. Dave Caldwell is totally screwing up my 2020, man. Like, I had one thing to look forward to, a Jaguars football season, and now that's down the toilet.
Yeah, and the thing is, besides these two moves that haven't, last time I was on your show, I talked about how stupid the Calais Campbell trade was, but pretty much every other move besides this, they all kind of, made some sort of sense, and we at least got some replacements for them. Like with Yannick Ngakoue, we drafted Caleb on Chase on because we knew he wasn't coming back. When we traded A.J. Boye, who was underperforming, we drafted C.J. Henderson. But with Fournette and now Harrison, it's like, okay, who are we playing instead of them?
Yeah, it's like the tank is almost evident, right? Like, it's just, it's totally crazy, man. It's idiotic in my mind.
Idiot!
Yeah, what's pissing me off is when we brought Chris Conley back, when we drafted Laviska Shenault, we signed Tyler Eifert, drafted Ben Barch. It looked like we were doing things to give Minshew a fair chance to succeed. And then with this Fournette thing happening, it's like, now you take the guy's running game away. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's like they're setting this guy up for failure, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's not right. And if it's for Trevor Lawrence, why are you doing that for him when you have a quarterback, when you put stuff around him, he can get it done. He proved it last year. And now with what's happened with our defense, more than likely because it's a lot of new pieces, and now Ronnie Harrison's gone, he's going to have to play from behind a lot. It's like here is potentially the best quarterback we could have ever had in our franchise, and you're setting him up to fail. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, it's like, you're forcing a rookie, right? Like I'm assuming Daniel Thomas is going to have to play, right? Like it's going to be Daniel Thomas.
Well, I don't mean to cut you off, but actually, from what I read, they really like this guy, Josh Jones.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's going to be the starter or what, but I don't know. All I got to say is you better be right about this guy, because trading somebody who at least was going to be around another 2 years and be our starting safety makes absolutely no sense unless you got something behind him.
Yeah, it's either Josh Jones or Daniel Thomas. I had Daniel Thomas on the show. I've seen his highlight reel, man. He reminds me a lot of Donovan Darius, and I know you and I are longtime Jaguars fans, so you know who I'm talking about. And that guy, Donovan Darius brought the wood, and that guy could just lay people out. And I'm hoping it's Daniel Thomas or just somebody who could pick up the, or fill that void somehow, right? Like it's just it's crazy.
Just somebody. It's just like what I'm hoping with the running back situation. It's like, you look at what we have in the back. Like, am I really missing something with James Robinson, Devine Exigbo, or Rock Armstead? Am I really missing something where one of these guys could be good? Because I really hope so. Like, I hope deep down they know what they're doing, but this all just looks stupid.
Yeah, the last game with Ezigbo in Indianapolis, I was like, wow, this guy's like, he showed some promise, right? And then you have Armstead. He had a pretty good game as well. But again, I think the big question is, how are you going to take the pressure off of Minshew, right? How do you not make it just the Gardner Minshew show? And that's the big problem when they got rid of Fournette. It's like, now what do we do, right? How do we fool defenses? How do we tire out defenses? And I felt like we had that with Fournette, where we could pound the football and just tire out their defenses, and then go play action with Minshew and go deep. And now I just feel like we don't have that. I mean, is that kind of your thought as well?
Well, I've heard a lot of people. I've actually heard a few people say this. That last game in Indianapolis, they said because the offense didn't completely revolve around Fournette, that it looked a little bit better. Now, that might be true, but at the same time, I haven't seen enough of these guys to make that assumption. Like, we don't know what we're getting with James Robinson. Zigbo and Armstead, they've had little flashes here and there, but it's like, it's not enough to say that they can be starting running backs for a football team. And Chris Thompson obviously is a third down back, and I like that we got him for that role. But it's like, what do you get? It's like, what are you getting from these guys? They weren't drafted high enough to really have an idea.
Yeah, and the thing is, man, like, I think people don't see the other side of Leonard Fournette. Like, that guy could pass block. I mean, he could take on blitzing linebackers for Minshew. I mean, and I saw it last season. And I feel like he was really the unsung hero last season. And people don't give him enough credit. I mean, he had 500 yards plus receiving, and then I'm hearing like people calling him out and being like, he's not a dynamic back. He's a one dimensional back, and that's just not true. Like, it's just not.
Well, I can tell you this. I can tell you where that comes from, because I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Well, actually, like a week ago before this happened. With Fournette, the problem with him is he was the 4th overall pick, and though he was productive, he's had, in the same draft, there was Christian McCaffrey, there was Alvin Kamara, there was Dalvin Cook. These are guys that have had better careers than him. And because Fournette was drafted higher than them, even though he's been productive, he's looked at as a bust, which is kind of unfair to him, and I've said that. And, now, like, I guess they're listening. I guess, Dave Caldwell's listening to the media too much because it's gotten to him and it's got rid of him. And I don't know if Jay Gruden is possibly setting up Doug Marrone too, because what the reasoning was for letting Fournette go is because he didn't fit Jay Gruden's offense. But I'm looking at it like looking at it as his time in Cincinnati as the offensive coordinator. You know, clearly Chris Thompson and Giovanni Bernard are that type of back. He uses more than one back. But how much different really is Leonard Fournette than Jeremy Hill was? What is so different about him that, you know, wouldn't allow him to at least be serviceable in that system? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So I don't know if Doug Marrone and Dave Caldwell are on their way out, and Jay Gruden is telling them this to set them up for failure because they know his job's most likely safe. I don't know what it is, but it's just this came out of left field, and it just makes no sense to get rid of Fournette.
No, it doesn't. And you know, it's funny because I was talking about that in the last Fournette episode I put out, where I talked about Yannick Ngakoue and Fournette kind of parting ways with the Jaguars. But in my mind, it doesn't make sense to me. I think there's something else going on. And great coaches make the players around them work in their system, right? You have to utilize your assets and make them work with your system. And then when I hear Doug Marrone in that press conference that he gave, which I thought was total BS, by the way, I felt like he was giving that explanation. Well, it just doesn't work in our system. And I felt like it was total bullshit, man. Like, I felt like it was more of like the same Doug Marrone being, you know, brought out and pushing the agenda of the front office, and Dave Caldwell and Shad Khan and maybe Tony Khan as well. And it just didn't seem authentic to me. I didn't believe it. You know, it's just like the same old stuff. Like, you could see it in Doug Marrone's face. He was just kind of like, well, he just, you know, didn't fit our system, and it was just, I just felt like it was total bullshit. I don't know what your thoughts were on it.
There could be two other reasons for that. It could be like, you know, reports coming out, which I don't know what to believe about this. You know, Fournette was bad. They're saying Fournette was bad in the locker room. Or it could just be one of those things where getting rid of Fournette is like the last main cog of the Tom Coughlin era, and they just wanted to get it out. That's kind of what comes to mind to me. That might be what it seems like, because I don't buy this whole he don't fit in our system bullshit. Especially when you got no one behind him. Like, if they, like, let's say the Jaguars would have somehow got what's his name? What's that guy's name? Swift. The Lions got him. I can't think of his first name.
Yeah, I'm blanking on it too.
Running back from Georgia.
Right. Oh,
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
I can't think of his first name. But yeah, him or Jonathan Taylor or J.K. Dobbins. If we would have got one of them in the second round, I would have been like, okay, this sucks, but fine. There's at least a plan. Like, with getting rid of him now and you don't have another guy, like, that, it just is asinine to me. Like, I don't understand what is the whole sense of urgency to get him out. Just what they should have done, if you really wanted him gone, if the Jaguars end up, like, just keep him around, and if the Jaguars end up sucking him by the trade deadline, then teams will get desperate. Then injuries happen. Then you could at least get something for him. And if he's not a part of the long-term plan, you're like, okay, fine. We suck. He's not going to be part of the long-term plan. We got something for him. Let's just move on and fix it next year. Like, that I could understand. But just now, like a week before the fucking season starts, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. And the thing is, man, you know, I feel like we could have gotten some trade value for him, right? Like, if they really wanted him out of there and they brought him in for training camp, and it was just, I felt like it was just a jerk, an a-hole move by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then I heard I don't even know if this is true or not, but they said that they cut him on Tom Coughlin's birthday. I don't know if that's true at all, but it's kind of if it is, they're kind of digging or what is it, turning the knife, or pouring salt in the wound for lack of a better word. But I don't get it. It's like, why don't you get some value out of this guy? Why do you waive him and then not get anything for him? And then on top of that, with the Yannick Ngakoue trade, I felt like Dave Caldwell was like, we're trying to get the most out of him. We're trying to get a first round draft pick. And then we get a second round and a conditional, what was it, a fifth, or it could be a third in 20.
It's a fifth that could end up being a third with kind of unrealistic expectations for that. But
yeah, I felt like we got screwed on that pick or that deal.
Idiot.
I mean, it just.
Well, actually, I kind of disagree a little bit because we've been trying to get a first round pick for Jan since the draft, and if he wasn't going to come back, that I kind of get. And there's at least a plan for him. Cassius Marsh is there, Kayvon Chaison's there, Josh Allen's there. There's at least a plan.
That's true.
So second and then a conditional pick. For somebody like Jan, I don't think is horrible, but it's for Harrison and nothing for Fournette, just beyond retarded.
Yeah, and the thing is, dude, they talk about this all the time, right? They're like, and Nick Foles even mentioned it, right? Like in a presser, he was like, we're really trying to build a culture around here. And then, of course, Nick Foles is gone. He gets traded. Then we trade Calais Campbell and AJ Bouye. We trade out all these veterans that have a lot of experience. But I think the Calais trade really was like a punch in the gut. And then, of course, I'm a Fournette fan. That really hurt when we traded him. And I feel like we have no veterans. We have no kind of culture, really, team in that locker room. And it's bad, man. It's just, and I feel like the younger guys, they catch on to that. So, like, the Jaguars could have a huge problem, I think, in the long run.
Well, the thing is, they're there. They're just not in, important enough positions. Like, Tremaine Brock's there. I don't know if you consider Joe Sherbert a veteran, but he's really not. I think he's like 26. Who else? Jernigan, but he's just 27. Eifert is 30. So and Linder is about the one that really would be feasible. So yeah, there's a couple there, but it's just not enough.
Yeah,
they're not in higher positions.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're definitely right on that, and I think the aura in the locker room, right? I mean, and kind of, I want to segue into Gardner Minshew here. I mean, he's got to be thinking like, I mean, the cards are stacked against this guy. He's probably thinking, I want to get the hell out of here, right? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he asked for a trade after the end of this season.
Well, here's the thing. With Gardner Minshew, they're stacking the deck against him, but now he's playing basically he's playing for his NFL future. The only way I think Gardner Minshew stays here is if the Jaguars if he puts up great numbers and wins enough games to keep us away from drafting Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. Because I mean, and even if he does that, like, you don't know if this front office is going to be here next year and what they're going to be thinking going forward with him, right? So I don't know if Gardner's necessarily asking for it, but it sucks because this kid came out of nowhere and shocked the world with how good he was this rookie season, but now with all the stacked against him, and no matter how good he does, he might not be the future of this team, and it might not even be his fault.
Yeah,
like, I just feel for the guy because he doesn't deserve that.
No, he doesn't. I mean, he was in a really bad situation last season. You know, he's asked to come in after Foles gets injured, and then he's benched again mid-season. I mean, the guy's got to be frustrated, right? I mean, and then you take away his running game, and you know, he's got that. I don't think the offensive line is very good, and I think it's probably a C+, C- offensive line. And I really just feel like he does have the cards stacked against him. So I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he asked for a trade. But I think the bigger question is, like, how does that translate to all the rest of the players in the locker room and the culture, the so-called culture that Jacksonville's trying to build? Because I feel like right now, man, I feel like they're the most hated and dysfunctional football team right now in the NFL. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that completely. Besides maybe the Redskins.
Yeah, the Washington football team.
I don't know if you saw on Twitter. One of my things was this just in: the Jaguars trade their name to the Washington football team in exchange for Dan Snyder's cheerleading nude videos.
Dude, man, it is.
But anyway, yeah. And like I said, the going with the offseason, with free agency and going into the draft, it looked like we were doing we lost pieces, but they were all on defense. Like we would look like we were doing everything right for this guy. Like we got him, like we drafted Visca and Colin Johnson. We signed Tyler Eifert. It's like we have all this going for him in an offense with weapons where he has a good chance to succeed, but then you take his running game away. It's like, you know, what are you trying to do?
Yeah, and it's just like, the thing I don't understand about this organization, man, is like they say they want to win now, but
they're trading everyone.
They don't, right? They're gaslighting us, or they're deceiving us, man, as fans. And I just think with everything going on, it's like it's really a shitty situation for the fans, man. Especially for Jacksonville, which is I feel like a town that's hurting right now economically, and with COVID and everything, and now it's like you're gonna do this. You're just gonna, I don't know. It just seems wrong to me.
Yeah, I feel for everybody down there. Like,
and I feel sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
It's just tough. It's just tough to put in words, especially with getting rid of Fournette. It's like you hope you're missing something, and they know something about one or a couple of the three guys that they had behind Fournette. Like, we know Chris Thompson can catch passes out of the backfield and make some plays. We know that, but as far as running the ball, like, it's just like, is there really something we're missing about one of these three guys? And then you go to think, look at this front office, or the front office and coaching staff. Are they really that smart? Like, it just.
Yeah, I have to disagree, man. I have to think like, no, they're not that smart, because, and I really touched on this in the last episode I put out about the Fournette and Ngakoue departure.
Sorry to cut you off. I don't think they are either. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No. I know you agree with me, but I just think. Going back to what you said, I think it's like we're the Washington football team, and you and I are real close to this because you live in Baltimore and I live in Virginia, and I feel like Shad Khan is taking a page out of the Dan Snyder playbook, right? Like he's gaslighting the fans, he's getting rid of the players that are good, and just creating that toxic environment, and I just feel like. It's a pretty similar situation. What do you think?
Unfortunately, that sounds about right. I mean, it may not, like, as far as pissing off the community, it may not be as bad on that end as Washington, but as far as player personnel and the environment within the locker room, it's pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah. So I saw your record prediction. So you think the Jags could win potentially 7 games?
Well, I did.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I think that the schedule's pretty tough. But you think there's Minshew's gonna light some magic into the team?
Yeah, I think so. I think Minshew, despite all this happening to him, I think he's gonna find a way to win some games. I don't think he's Minshew's the type of guy. I don't think he's gonna go away without a fight. We saw that this year out of him. I think he's a guy that works hard, that the guys believe in, and that he can really. We really got something with him, and they better realize it before it's too late. That's all I'm gonna say. So I think let's hypothetically say we'll have a serviceable running game with Fournette going, and this Josh Johnson or Daniel Thomas, whoever they put in at strong safety, fills in decently for Ronnie Harrison. I mean, I still think 7 games is realistic if they can figure their shit out. Yeah.
And so how do you feel about our depth at quarterback? I had Josh Dobbs on the podcast last week. And he seems like a great guy, man, and I've seen his highlights. I think could be some potential talent untapped, but I was just kind of curious on your thoughts on just Josh Dobbs.
Well, I remember watching this guy at Tennessee because I'm a Florida fan, but I don't think his passing is that good, but I do know the guy's mobile and can run, so there's at least that. And also, are we even sure that he's gonna be the guy? Because Mike Lennon's there. I'm hearing good things about Jake Luton.
Yeah.
So who is I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of competition in the quarterback room. But
yeah.
Well, hey man, I want to be conscious of your time. Thanks for jumping on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
I mean, you're good if you got something else to ask me.
No, man, I'm good. I'll
put my whole day away because I definitely was ready to vent about all this shit.
Oh, dude, yeah, and welcome to the Jaguars fan base couch here. Have a therapy session, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's been great, man. Chatting with you, definitely trying to vent a little bit because it's just like every single day it seems like something's changing, right? And then you have Fournette going to Tampa Bay, and wow, I mean that's just kind of blowing my mind a little bit. Maybe it will be a good team, right? I thought the whole Tom Brady going to the Buccaneers thing would be a kind of a fluke, right?
Right.
But we'll see what happens. But hey, man, thanks for your time again. Hang in there. We'll rally as Jags fans. You take care, all right?
Yeah, man. You too. Thanks again, and it's still Duval till we die. But God, this sucks.
All right, man. Take care.
All right.
Let me get that. JYD coming up with the big sack. Quarterbacks beware, we on the prowl. Game day night, you could hear it in our growl. Intimidation on to keep their hearts racing. Eating other teams live on TV front of the nation. Spectacular defensive scheme.
This episode is available on the Jaguar Podcast YouTube channel. So if you stop by, make sure to subscribe and give this video a like. Also, these episodes are available on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and other major podcast distributors as well. So if you don't mind, please leave me a review and some feedback. I'd really appreciate that. If you'd like to connect with me on social media, my Twitter handle is @JaguarPodcast. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. This is Andrew signing off. Cheers.